designing in this adorable ceramic container, really classic, I think almost like English tea party here. We are going foam free today because I want to really get this flowers vase life to last as long as possible. I want to be able to enjoy these for the rest of the month maybe. So we are using our good old-fashioned floral netting here and wire cutters. It's essentially a coated chicken wire. You can get it just about any supply wholesaler will carry this. It comes in a big, huge roll, and I probably had this thing for, I don't know, a couple of years. I mean, it really lasts. You only need a small amount here, and you can mold it into the shape of your container. I like to tuck my ends, that way I don't actually poke myself here. I use this also for some bouquets, although they do have plastic eggs now available, which I love. But if you're trying to reduce your plastic and carbon footprint, this is your go-to. So I kind of make a thing there, and it'll fit into my container. And it's good and snug, You can see that I'm pulling on that. You can see it's just in there, and then you can put your water over the top of that. Here. Move these out of our way. Ran out of space. Can fill this up here with our water. You want to make sure that all those stems are covered. You don't want anything out of the water, because then it is no good. I like to use a variety of foliage. See how great that is? All that water, you can just kind of pop everything right in there however you want. I am all about the garden style. I love things kind of every which direction. And so I really like that natural flair. I want to take a couple of the things and have them fall over the edge of the container to really break that up. Adds a little bit of dimension, adds some interest. This is classic silver dollar eucalyptus. We have a local farm that grows it, so I always try and get as much local product as possible. Floral lasts forever. It's a great base. And just filling this in here. Eucalyptus. I like it because you get that smell. I love that eucalyptus smell. It can get a little crazy sometimes. I am not gonna lie. Sometimes you get a batch of Floral in, and it kind of almost takes your breath away. It's so unbelievably potent. But at least I know it's fresh, and that quality can't be beat. Let's see here. Get all this greenery in. I like to use at least 3 kinds of greenery. I personally don't think you can ever have too much, but it probably also depends on your design. If you're doing something really modern and really sleek, maybe you don't use any greenery at all. Oasis makes a really cool product where it's black floral foam. I've seen some really cool things in there where they don't even cover it. They don't hide their mechanics at all. Like the black is part of the architecture, and it's really interesting. It's really, really interesting to see how people have used that new product. Queen's Anne's lace, I know, here in the States it's considered a weed, but I love it. I like how different it is. I like the different texture and that bright green that it carries. I like the lacy foliage. I think it adds a lot here. Get nice and full. I want the arrangement to be gorgeous before I even put a flower in. That way that it's going to be beautiful. You know that you're already going to have design. You know that you're already going to love it, love your shape, and have a lot to play with if you already, if it's beautiful before you even put a single bloom in there. Can maybe add some more greenery. Coral Charm peonies. They are, once again, like I said, local. I keep these big giant blooms low so that my arrangement doesn't get top heavy. You can see, like, it's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Try to keep it low. I'm gonna keep this one low. This is gonna go on my dining room table, so I want to be able to have a conversation across the table. I don't want to have to look around the flowers to be able to see the person I'm sitting next to. I go to events a lot and I notice that they have these beautiful arrangements on the table, but when then you go to sit down and you've got something, you know, you've got something this tall on your table and you sit it down, and all of a sudden you're having to like look through to be able to talk to the person across from you. And you know, and those end up getting moved. So you pay, you know, you paid for these arrangements that nobody's enjoying because they can't talk to the person on the other side of them. And so what do? You know? I see a lot of times by the end of the night they're moved to the floor, they're moved, you know, to the bar or somewhere so that they're out of everybody's way, and that's sad. You have these beautiful flowers and that's just sad. I'm using white spray roses from Peter Court Farms here in Oregon. I am using peach sweetheart roses, also from Peter Court. I'm using Coral Charm peonies from J. Bacon Farms out in Yamaha County, Oregon. And we're just filling in here, just for some nice, fun spring color. We want to really celebrate the blooms while we can. I cannot remember the name of these peach. I think they're peach sweet keto. I might be wrong. I had a funeral spray that wanted peach and white, and so I grabbed a few extra so that we could play with some of these local beauties. And we just fill in. Like I said, I love all of the textures. I wanted something sweet for, very classic for my dining room table. Can't have company over quite yet, but when we do, I'll be ready for them. I will feed them all of the food that I've been practicing baking because I've been quarantine baking. I think a lot of us can identify with that. These are beautiful garden rose. They're cream with a hot pink center. I'm gonna put those right in the middle to be a centerpiece there. Just a couple more stems to fill in here. And last but not least, I have beautiful white Star of Bethlehem. So they last forever because they have all of these blooms. You know, they start out closed and they're all in fact, I have a uncut, marked closed version over here. So you can see how they start. You know, they've got this fun linear pattern, and then as they open, the blooms at the bottom open, so you can really get a lot of vase life out of these flowers, and they'll open up slowly over the course of the next 2 weeks or so. Here, just tuck them in, and look at that texture. Look at that interest. It really brings out. I like to have some things lower and some things out, so it really draws your eye in to see all the different gorgeous blooms that you have, and it really just kind of drags your eye across the whole centerpiece, really. If you are a florist and you're starting out, you found me. Hi. If you're wondering about pricing, I have a pricing model. It's very standard across our industry in the States here. I charge, first determine your labor rate. What are you wanting to be paid? And then determine all of your costs. You can't just look at something and be like, I think that's $50. You know, and then once you're putting everything together, you realize, oh shoot, I've spent $20 just buying the product. That's before your container, that's before your time. Any of your flower food finishing spray products, your bags to and from to pick up, or shipping, potentially, if you're having it sent to you. You know, so you have to really think about what you're wanting to spend on things. You know, what are you willing to, what margin do you want? And then I multiply it out by 3.5 times for fresh. You have to account for loss. You have to account for damage. If it's for an event, you have to realize, when you're supposed to get things so that everything is open into like perfection, peak opening time for, so everything's at its prime for the event here. And, there's a lot of stuff that goes into having an arrangement. Your peonies, they take, or your garden roses, they take over a week to open. But then some of the other stuff, like anemones, you put them in warm water and bam, those bad boys are open and ready to go. So you have to kind of figure out what you're doing when your event is, when the best time to get some of your items are, because you don't want things past their time when you're going to sell them or have them available for an event. You want them to be open and beautiful and perfect. For home deliveries, you want things as fresh as possible so that they can go out the door and the person who received that gift can enjoy it for the longest amount of time. So there's a really big difference between event pricing, daily pricing, but just figure out how much is your time worth? What are you wanting to, what's your labor really worth? And then the pricing model, 3.5 times your fresh, 2 times your hard goods, and there you go. You'd be amazed. Some things can really sneak up on you, or it can cost a lot less than you think. You see this big, beautiful arrangement, you're like, oh my gosh, that must be $200-300, and then you actually find out that it's only $150. You don't want to overcharge your clients because they won't be your clients anymore. They'll go somewhere else. But you don't want to cut yourself short because you also have to make a living, and there's cost of doing business. So just really think about that. Use your calculator. It's your best friend. But here is our finished tea dining room table centerpiece. It is all around because you're gonna have people sitting on both sides of your table. I love this container. It's in my personal collection. I just love that classic style. If you like this and you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. I'm really working on doing some DIY classes for you guys. If you're in the Portland metro area, look me up. I'm happy to have a conversation with you. I want to spread as much knowledge and experience as we possibly can and enjoy the flowers while we can. Have a great afternoon and follow along for more.